The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and today I'm talking with Danielle Porter, who is a dear friend and a team member here at Learn, Do, Become. And Danielle created this amazing energy map that she posted in the Facebook group for our Steps to Everyday Productivity group. And it's seriously amazing. We've gotten so many questions and comments. And so, Danielle, you're going to show us how to make this happen today, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. This will be fun.
So Danielle's created this energy map, and we'll include a picture of it. We'll have all these descriptions on our podcast page. If you go to learndobecome.com/podcast, you can see all of our episodes there. So just go to that page. You can locate today's episode, but we're going to teach you how to do the same thing. And really, I'm here for selfish reasons because Danielle is going to be helping me learn how to do this as well. I have not done this yet, and I really wanted to. So today we're going to interview Danielle, ask her how to do it and how to get started. So let's just kind of begin by talking about why an energy map is even needed, or what the benefit is of an energy map.
An energy map is just putting our time on paper and then assigning purpose or intention to those actions that we're already doing. So this looks like a piece of paper with times on the side or along the top, and then words or phrases to describe how I'm going to be feeling or trying to feel during those blocks of time. We'll put a couple of examples on the site of what this looks like. One of the energy maps that I've used has been color-coded. So I put the times on the left, and then I would assign the energy that went with that time block, and then I would just like streak out that block of time in that color. Another example that we'll share is just a black and white version. It doesn't have the color coding, but the purpose is the same. It's just a different layout. But basically it all comes down to starting with routines. We love routines, and that is something that, takes care of all the to-dos and the what's, the things that need to happen. And I started realizing that if we put a little bit of why behind it, the energy map kind of covers like the how things happen, why things need to happen. And it's funny because actually, even though you say you haven't done this, going back to a recent podcast where you talked about how to have an April day, this is a perfect example of that, because it's designating and delegating time for a certain type of like work or focus or
I get it.
So for anyone that hasn't had a chance to listen to that podcast yet or read that post, April just goes through a series of steps on how to set aside a day once a week, or even part of a day, in order to get things done and rejuvenate. So what you did on that time frame for the day is using an energy map is very similar, but it's just breaking it down into time blocks throughout the day. If we're focusing and thinking about the kind of person we want to become, this is where we kind of have place for it. This is where we can kind of give attention in the day, because we can get good at getting things done. We can get good at, marking tasks off and getting projects moving forward. So basically it's just putting purpose to the things that we already have in place. So if we have, whatever routines we have in place, it's attaching that purpose. So if we can just like think about our time in pieces, like if we think about them as these little valuable parts of our day, we can better see how to utilize like what we're going to be giving, how we're going to be serving, how we're going to be working, whatever it is we have in our day, putting our time, rather than thinking about I have a full day, we can think about, little blocks of time.
As I initially look at an energy map, or as I look even at a time map or any routines, sometimes my first inclination is to tense up and think, I'm creating a box around myself where I have to confine all of my activities into these predetermined areas. And then like today, okay, Danielle and I are recording this at 1:00. I have really hardly done anything today. No, nothing on my list. I mean, I've done a lot with my family and taking care of different things, but I feel like my list has not been accomplished at all today. Today did not turn out the way I anticipated. And so sometimes I worry like, if I put together even more structure, Am I going to be letting myself down? But I don't think that that's what we're doing here, right?
Yes, I'm so glad you said that, April, because this is different from looking at the time in our day and feeling pressured to keep up with or get things done within that time. Instead, it's looking at the day and seeing that time and knowing that we're going to put really good meaning behind the things that we're doing. So, for example, it's looking at that time block, seeing the potential for how I want to feel and how I want to act within that time frame. So, a quick example, after school with my kids, rather than look at that time at the things that I want to get done, which we still have to, and that's still important, but overriding that is I have a feeling of I want to have my mind calm. I don't want to be thinking about a lot of heavy, stressful things in the back, but I want to have ready to listen to them. I want to have my eyes ready to connect with them after they come home from school. And so that's my focus, and that's the energy that I'm putting into that time. So let's just dive in and get started on how to build an energy map.
The best way to do it, start to block your time by what you currently do. So you don't really want to make an ideal week, because sometimes that is where we get
like no week is ever ideal. Yeah.
Exactly. So just be careful with that. Just write down what actually happens, and just start to see patterns, start to see this is what I do in my morning time. This is what I like to do in the afternoon time. This is what I like to do with evenings with my family. You can do this for your home life. You can do this for work. If it helps for you to think of it in hourly, that's fine. I think 2 to 3 hours for me is kind of practical. Just however your mind tends to group things. Basically, you're looking for something that is a start and a stop to your activities, your tasks.
Now, you start out with a lot of different colors. I think that's what drew me to this energy map, is that it's not just text written out with a schedule or showing what you do. It's totally color-coded. So can you explain what those colors are?
I like to just use words or phrases that just mean something to me. Peaceful, generous, fun, patient, open-minded, focused, anything that means something to you. I'll just give a couple of examples. I like to get up before my kids. And if I can, this is the time I use to pray, exercise, get ready for the day. And so some of the words that I put in this little time: energy, strong, jumpstart, invite the spirit. And it kind of changes. What would happen normally is I would wake up and I'd actually feel overwhelmed or already behind if I didn't get a lot of sleep. It assigns an energy to this little time frame that I'm going to be using, but it also detracts me from what my default would be.
Because the default might be
the default is not
stay in bed.
Yeah.
Dread the day. I totally get it. Okay. And I'm pulling out, actually, as you're talking, I'm realizing just yesterday I was sketching out my ideal day. All right. So I'm going to actually have a little clipboard next to me. I haven't put it into my routines list yet or into an energy chart or anything yet, but I love this. Okay. So yes, having the morning where you have that time to get your strong foundation under you. I love those words you're using, and everyone would probably have different words they use. But it's something that's going to help them feel like they're totally prepared to meet the day. Under it was green, where you had it around the school time, after school time, and you had happy interruptions on that. Mm-hmm. And I loved that because I want to think more about interruptions, whether it's, coworkers or whether it's your family members. But I want to think of having certain times where you welcome people coming and talking to you and needing you. And it's happy. It's a time where, people need me and want me. And so if you're working in an office, for example, you could have hours where you're like, this is where I have the happy interruptions. I have people dropping by. I'm more open, as opposed to closed with a sign on my door saying, please do not disturb. I'm doing my best work, or something like that.
The day doesn't go on forever. Everything has a little closing to it. And so it helps me to, even if something's really hard and I don't want to do something, that time's going to pass. The next phase will come on. One of the thoughts I had is before school or morning crunch time, if you're running off, trying to get to work or whatever it is, and you feel like that's a stressful time, I really like the idea of putting positive words with that time, because the instinct is just, to hurry, stay on task, to get the things done. But when I try to think let's be playful, just be generous, have my heart be generous and be kind, that helps things to where even if I'm not super positive and super cheerful, even if it just knocks it down a little bit, I'm still kind and patient, and, we can get through that. It's literally an hour. It's not even that long of a time.
Yeah. Well, I love how you had time blocked out for your computer work and time for project work and then time to shift more into family or thinking about others. And I think that when we can just look at our day and figure out, and with just the natural rhythms of the day, when is it that I'm going to be working on these specific types of tasks, and when am I going to be able to be more accessible or more, available to family or to other people? I think that is huge and so helpful to be able to just see, let's just kind of give it a name, at least this area, knowing it's going to change, to kind of give it a name.
And that's where this gets fun, is that you can find like pain points, like find things that are hard for you, and like you can tweak in it, or how can I prepare what needs to be done so that we have open windows of time to play and to relax and to do the fun things or whatever.
Okay, I have to stop with you right there because I love what you just said about open windows. That is what I want to create with my energy schedule, is a ton of open windows, because I think a lot of times we'll have a tendency to try to schedule everything where we have no open windows. And that is exactly what drives me to feel tense and stressed and overwhelmed. It's when I don't have that open space. And just like, David Allen doesn't suggest creating a whole lot of new goals. He suggests clearing space and then watching what happens. That's what I'm noticing too, is when you just clear space and now you're like, okay, I've got this open space, then that's when I start becoming more creative in my business, more creative in my family. I start reading better books. I start having better conversations. And then I'm realizing, oh, my life is feeling so much less stressful, but I'm actually becoming more of the person I always dreamed of becoming and not getting so tense and overwhelmed.
The word should is like kind of a dangerous word for me. And I think if I start thinking, okay, this is when it's time to do this. I should get up to exercise, or I should get this housework done, or I should start this writing project. That's where the white space, and that's where this is so powerful. So you can see when you have this, this beautiful routine chart, and you can see this energy map that this is what I planned on doing, but I don't feel like it. I just don't have this energy, but I can see that I do have this margin here. I can see tomorrow I have this open space. I can, rearrange things, or I can renegotiate, and I can make my plan B. And then that stress goes down. You have things in line. You know what projects, your projects are organized. You have tasks you can pull, but then you don't have to be living by that should.
Yes. But then you have a place to put it instead of just saying, fine, I just won't do it. Because, I talked to one of my dear friends the other day, and she said, I really hate lists. I don't like lists. I really think they're not great. And I said, okay, I understand. But then I said, well, so how do you get all the things done that you need to do? And she kind of looked stressed for a minute. She's like, well, I don't really know if I do. I don't really get all of it done, which is fine. No one's, judging her or saying she has to get everything done. But I think the problem is that when something comes up and you don't have the energy or the time, if you finally say, okay, I'm just going to choose not to do that today, and I'm going to do something else, or I'm going to get the rest that I need, or I'm going to go, do another project that just came up, or some fire just happened at work or whatever, then if your brain doesn't know where to put that task so that you won't forget about it, that just adds more stress. It's not helping you. It just gives you kind of, now it's another open loop, as David Allen refers to it. And so I love what you're saying here, where if you need to make a choice that, hey, I'm not going to do this right now, you know where to put it. So Dr. David Burns has a Facebook page, and he and Jill, who works with him, created 2 different videos on Facebook Live about should statements. And I listened to both of them and took really good notes, and they have helped me so much. So anybody who's feeling like I need to figure out inside my head what to do with those should statements, those are awesome videos to check out. You can start to tell when your routines list, for example, doesn't make sense for your life anymore.
Yes,
I mean, our 15-year-old just got a job. And so he used to be home every day after school, and now he's gone until like 6. So now I've realized if I want to be able to talk to my teenager, I need to make sure I have energy between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Or else I have zero influence on my teenager. And anyone who has teens or has experienced teens, that you need to make time, because otherwise you just won't have it. And so I've totally changed my schedule. So now at night, I think, okay, I'm on as a parent, during these hours, instead of thinking, oh, I could be working on some other projects or running errands. It's like, no, I've got to be right there because that's the time that I have available. And I think even things like recording podcasts or preparing, we have a lot of great posts and ideas and things that are in the queue for Learn to Become and for our Power of Moms website. And I keep not creating time to be able to work on those posts and podcasts. And so what ends up happening is I have all this creative energy and ideas and things that cause time never just pops up to be able to work on that. And so when we start having those conversations, either with ourselves or with coworkers or family members about what's really needed in our lives and in our families and what energy and what projects are actually going to make the biggest difference to move the needle in our lives, then I think that's a good time to reassess this energy map and our routines and things like that so that we actually can see an impact. Because I think there's nothing more frustrating than knowing what you need to do to change your life or feeling that there's a need for change, but then continuing to just stay in the same rut and do the same things over and over again and not seeing any of that actually happen. And I think this is a really good tool to help us actually implement the changes that we feel need to come into our lives.
Oh, that's perfect. That's a perfect example. And I think you're right. Like we can fight it. We can fight it all we want, but then we feel bad and we miss opportunities or we lose that chance to, help someone or be better ourselves or refresh and rejuvenate.
The kinds of things that I'm deciding to do now during that time, actually a lot of it was inspired by seeing this energy map, because as I thought about it and I thought, okay, the evening time is not time for me to feel guilty about all the stuff I didn't get done during the day, the emails that I didn't finish or whatever need to be done on the computer. That is just not the time for that. But I actually started taking guitar lessons a couple of weeks ago. And I realized evenings are the perfect time for me to practice my guitar because I can just be sitting down playing a few chords, and it's a perfect time for me to be reading an actual book because then I'm just available. I mean, my teenagers aren't going to sit by my feet and just listen to everything that I say all night. I mean, that's not the goal. But as I'm, closing up my work and then sitting down, having guitar time and reading time, that's way better. And there were times where we had the TV on for all of those hours in our lives. And so, Eric would get home from work, we'd both be tired, we'd just turn on the TV, and then the TV would just be on all night, and then the kids would go to bed. And that's something that we had to make a deliberate choice to change because it was not helping our family. And so now, we'll have some, TV watching time or screen time that we've got set up, but it's not during those hours when the kids are around. So it just might be a good thing just to be thinking about, what is it that I could do that would be low enough energy when I'm tired, doesn't require so much, but that would actually create that foundation.
No, and I'm glad you said that because I feel like that's, and if someone gets from this conversation is that, if they don't want to make a full energy map, they don't want to sketch out their routines, but if all you do is you just pair one time of day with the thing that you're like, the ideal that you're looking for, the kind of person you want to be, the service you want to give, that's like accomplishing the goal. Like if you, like you said, if you're available for your kids at that time and that's meaningful to you, then that is so successful.
Probably a lot of the people who are listening are already members of our STEP program. That's Steps to Everyday Productivity. If you haven't heard of it, you go to learndobecome.com/step. We have a free class where you can sign up and start learning how we can actually get rid of the clutter and the piles and all that in our lives. How does this integrate with what we already have involved with the weekly review inside of the STEP program?
Oh, this is the best. So this is where it's the funnest because I feel like right now, if you're just mapping out a basic routine and you're kind of trying to put, like a purpose with what you're doing, this is where it gets really fun. When you get really good at routines inside of STEP and you start to see how your time is being spent, you can actually flip it and you can actually see, okay, I have really good energy here. Now let's start putting my routines and my tasks and around how I do things. And so you are even more free to move forward and you're really, really getting things done the way that you like because you can see so much more clearly, so farther ahead because you're not overwhelmed and you're not stuck down in this pit. And so I feel like that's where going through the STEP program, you can kind of see like, okay, here's my routines in place. Here's where, I can move these projects forward. And going back to that should, like we're not living by should anymore.
Yes. This kind of reminds me of when we were a little girl, we had an encyclopedia. And I remember I always loved the H encyclopedia, the human body, because it had the overlays where you could flip one transparent page and it showed the muscles, and the other one showed the nervous system, and one showed the bones. And so you could just keep turning these pages to see how it all overlapped to create this amazing human body. And I think that, routines where we help people identify what are things you do daily, weekly, monthly, etc. Some of them are time specific, some of them are not. But you create these routines that you want to be able to remember to do. And then this kind of puts another layer on that. So then how can you take those routines and kind of structure them with your energy, and not just the energy that you have, but I love how you're including these purpose words inside. One just quick example is we found that because Eric and I have been so busy with our business and taking care of things behind the scenes at Learn, Do, Become, we weren't really having great family dinners. I kind of had delegated it more to the kids, and then they weren't really doing it. And we ended up eating really poorly and nobody was enjoying the food. So we started looking into other options, like, okay, we could, hire out someone to cook. We could do takeout more. We could do more freezer meals. We kind of started looking at other options. But really, none of them were helping me reach my goals and nutrition goals and just overall trying to establish something that made sense for our family. So as I was looking at my routines and my schedule, I realized that there's this morning, about 30 minutes that I have every morning where the high schoolers have gone to school, but my elementary school student is still home. And I thought, well, what if during that time, while he's eating breakfast and making his lunch and he's just kind of hanging out in the kitchen, what if I'm in the kitchen with him making dinner and putting it in the crock pot or preparing things and having it ready? So that way, he and I are talking. I'm not trying to get to something. I'm not on email. I'm not, trying to do my exercise or whatever. I'm just present, and I'm in the same room as my 11-year-old. And then by the time he leaves for school, dinner's done. And then we can just open the crock pot later, or we can just stick it in the oven. And so kind of like with seasons of life, I've noticed, okay, this, next year it's going to be different. I don't know what time he's going to go to school next year when he's in middle school, but it just helped me think, okay, now I can use that little 30-minute period to be able to create that foundation for family dinner, where now we're all sitting around the table eating family dinner, and I got to build a relationship with my 11-year-old while we made it. And now we're eating more healthfully and we stick to our budget, and it just, that works. And so
yeah, it's so simple. You didn't have to you don't have to remove a bunch of things around your schedule to make that happen. You're just working with what you already have and then putting more purpose to that time.
And is that what you're referring to? Is this a similar experience that you've had? Okay, because that feels exciting when you think, oh, okay, what if I could get all my computer work done and clean the house and take care of my neighbors and whatever I need to do in my business, and it didn't feel hard.
Yeah, and then going back to the pain points, you find the things that's hard. It's like, this is the pain point, let's fix this. And all of a sudden, you said, all these things are falling into place.
I think, obviously you and I both work from home and we have children. So as we're talking about this, we're using our experiences, talking about how we're balancing this with our parenting and being able to get work done. Now, if somebody, though, I'm thinking this applies just as well, let's say there's someone who needs to make sales calls 3 times a week. Well, if you're trying to make those sales calls when you're super tired and you're super annoyed and you're getting on the phone, I mean, that's going to show through, right? As you're working with clients, where you could switch around when your client work's going to happen. And if you're thinking, well, I'm trying to take care of a family too, and I never have energy for my spouse, or I never have energy for my kids because I'm just trying to, just go through the daily grind to take care of the bills. I mean, I totally get that too. But I think the ideas we're sharing here are things that actually help us to be able to get our work done. This is how we're supporting our families and contributing to supporting our families, while also being able to be a good role model, hopefully, for our children, and be able to be happy at the end of the day, where we're not going to bed thinking, oh, I failed again, which is how I felt for so long.
It's so true. And then we stop procrastinating because we kind of know, we start to see it's not worth it to put that type of sales call or whatever that time of day. Let's do it here, and let's put something before that's super motivating, or something after that really helps me.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you recommend as a first step for someone who's listening and who's thinking, okay, I want a better energy map. I want to create these ideal words. I want to be able to figure out how to move forward. Where would you recommend? I know we're going to have some links and resources on the show notes page for this episode, so come there.
Yes. Yes, definitely come there. But for now, I would say the first step I would say would be simply just to find one thing that you're already doing and just attach purpose to it. Just find the one thing that you're doing consistently that has to happen, and then put meaning to why you're doing it, how you want to do it, and then just see what that does for you as you're going through whatever it is, whether it's, routine task at work, whether it's something at home. Kind of think about why you're doing it, how, the how and the why behind it.
Yeah.
I would start there. I think that was really powerful, just to see that these little things do matter.
I definitely recommend doing that on some sort of a Google Drive or a spreadsheet or some piece of paper or something like that, where you can kind of create the whole framework, where you can build out how Danielle did, and you can come see it on the show notes page, see how she created her energy map. You can build the foundation, but then you don't feel like you have to fill everything in. Just do what Danielle suggested, picking one area, but fill that in, put those words in, and just kind of start building with that. Because the ideal that I think of, if we did that, let's say for a month or two, you're just kind of working on it little by little, I think we could easily come up with a very simple framework or energy map that feels exciting to us, that's actually helping us achieve our goals. And then when we're noticing something like, oh, I'm never spending time with my spouse, or I'm not getting enough sleep, or I'm doing this, then we can start looking and saying, ooh, how could we tweak our phone time? Or how could we tweak what time we're going to bed? Or how could we change up some of our activities so we're not exhausting ourselves at this time or that time? Or how do we get more energy by having exercise? Or, whatever it is. This is, I think, such a tangible way to take that maybe frustration that we're feeling and then put it into something tangible where we can see why we are or why we are not getting those results. And then we can make changes as needed.
Oh, love that. Well said.
Thank you so much, Danielle. I love this.
April.
Thanks for posting this. I mean, really, I had to just smile because she posted this in our group, I think months ago. And then people have just been commenting on it, asking questions and sharing and talking about what they're doing. It's just awesome. So I love that now we're taking this conversation out to the broader Learn, Do, Become community and really encouraging each other. And now anyone who's listening, if you have any additional ideas or thoughts that were sparked as you were listening and you want to come share them, please come put them in the comments. We love being able to hear from our community members, and we will be responding to those comments. And Danielle is available to help answer any of those questions there in the comments section. But really, our goal is to help you to be able to create this ideal life. We want to architect lives of excellence. And this doesn't mean that we're perfect or we're trying to be something awesome for everyone else. It means that we want to really feel like this is the life that we're creating deliberately and then getting to reap the benefits of that, especially having strong families along the way. So come visit us at learntobecome.com. Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, April.